Folks, we might get cracking. We'll try and beat the weather. We've done very well, haven't we, so far, after this morning. Would you like to crush towards me a little bit? If you'd like to come. All right, folks. Well, look, hello and a very warm welcome to you all. Thank you very much for wearing your heart and your affection for this building on your sleeve and for gathering and acknowledging the history and the significance of this building. To mourn its loss, if you like, to remember, to reflect, to celebrate and honour the history of our wonderful town hall. Now, my name is Warwick Delmonte, and before we hear too many more words and more music and more memories, and some very brief speeches, I do have to do some housework because a public meeting demands things from health and safety. I have to tell you things in case. So, in the event of an earthquake, I think first of all we have to acknowledge the irony of that happening today, and perhaps the saving of $2 or $3 million. And assemble, please, in the bare, unfortunately, treeless square behind you. Please keep off the road. If anybody's got a chair, beware of trip hazards. If anybody's a little bit less mobile, perhaps the more mobile can help them to safety. And just generally move away as quickly as possible from the building. So there we have it. That's the health and safety briefing. Now, the future of the town hall has for years been an issue, as you know. It's gone a little bit, unfortunately, hand in hand with great negativity. Oh, the debates and the arguments, the protests, the counter-protests, many a harsh word, many a battle in public and in council chambers with decreasing decorum. So whilst it may seem a little counter to what perhaps we're feeling today in terms of a loss, we would like to treat just the next half an hour or so as a positive occasion, as a celebration, if you like. A chance to enjoy our nostalgia, to admire the history, to wallow in the warmth of memories. This building may contain whispers of the past, but there are also echoes of great laughter and good times. The town hall has been a witness to the evolution of this town, and at times it's been a silent witness, but at other times it's been quite a raucous one. The Ziegfeld Follies performed here, a very famous nightclub act with great nudity apparently. John Rolls sang here, so did Alison Durbin, John Hall, Larry's Rebels, the Howard Morrison Quartet on more than one occasion, the Underdogs, the Chicks, The King and I was performed here. I auditioned. Young Farmers Balls, School Balls, Singles Balls. My wife actually met her first fiance here. They never made it to the altar. Lucky lady. The Blue Night Discos, do you remember those? The Scottish country dancing and Miss Wairarapa pageants. Are there any past contenders of the Miss Wairarapa beauty pageants here today? No? Okay. Now, I sometimes think of heritage buildings as a bit like the slightly rumpled uncle that always turns up on Christmas Day. A little bit sozzled, a tad rough around the edges, but he has the best stories. Now, you may have one of those stories, so if you do, please share it. Not here right now, I'm not asking you to stand up, but over to my left is a memory box. Look, if you've got any stories connected in any way with the town hall, we would love it if you could pop them in the box anytime during this gathering or afterwards. Or you can simply grab a note of the Marston Ratepayers email address and send one in later if you like. The idea is if we have enough wee memories, we will make a memorial book. Now, moving on, and we're going to be positive, so to reflect and tell you a little more about the grand history of our town hall is someone far more qualified than myself. So please welcome the instigator, the creator, the chief organiser of today's celebration and one of the town hall's most dedicated defenders. The president of the Marston Ratepayers and Residents Association, please welcome Lyn Riley.
As we gather to celebrate, remember and honour Masterton's Town Hall, a building that has stood at the heart of our community for more than a century. For those who don't know me, my name's Lyn Riley, and yes, I'm the president of the Masterton Ratepayer and Residents Association. Our organisation was formed in 2021 after Hands Around the Town Hall protest. Since then, we have worked very hard in our attempts to preserve this heritage place. While we accepted that the hall itself needed to be demolished, we hoped to save the municipal and civil defence buildings, or at the very least, the facade. Despite those efforts, full demolition has now been approved by council and the contract to demolish has been signed. We believe the recent changes to the earthquake-prone building regulations offered us a chance for reconsideration, and many of us believe the decision should have been delayed until the elections close next week, giving the community and a new council time to reflect on possibilities. But it appears that moment too has passed. Deconstruction work is expected to start next week. So today is not about a protest, it is about respect. Respect for our heritage, respect for our history, and most of all, respect for those who mourn the loss of this iconic building, regardless of which side of the debate you sit on. Today, we wanted to give our community one final opportunity to acknowledge the Town Hall, to celebrate its history, to honour the role it has played in Masterton's history, for more than a century, and to say goodbye before it becomes just a distant memory. This building has always been surrounded in controversy, and we thought we should share some of that history with you today. Back in 1906, councillors said Masterton was 10 years behind the times and chose to build something new. Not everyone agreed then, just as not everyone agrees now. The foundation stone was laid in 1915, and by March 1916, the concert hall hosted its first event. It was a St. Patrick's Day concert. Imagine the optimism of the day, a new civic heart for a growing town. But this place has never had an easy path. The 1942 earthquakes badly damaged the municipal buildings, and for years the community asked the same questions we asked ourselves today. Do we repair or do we rebuild? Work did not begin until 1949 and wasn't finished until 1954, 12 years after the quake and at 6 times the cost. Still, the town hall continued to serve us. It adapted through the decades, the library moved, new offices were added, and the Cody Lounge was created. Like Masterton itself, the building kept evolving. And it has been so much more than bricks and mortar. Weddings, concerts, theatre, exhibitions, debates, school productions, community celebrations, all have filled these walls with laughter, applause, argument, and sometimes grief. For many of us, this building holds deeply personal memories. Through fires, floods, earthquakes, and social change, it has stood as one of Masterton's last few civic landmarks of its era, a symbol of resilience and identity. While it may no longer be seen as fit for purpose by some in our community, or quite match modern decor standards, its legacy is secure. Let's be honest, once we've passed 100 years, most of us aren't fit for purpose either. However, character never goes out of style. So today, we farewell not just a building, but an era of civic pride and community spirit. The challenge before us is to honour the vision of those who built this hall by ensuring that what replaces it will also bring people together, inspire pride, and serve the generations to come. So let's take a moment to honour everyone who has passed through these doors. The councillors who laid the foundation stone, the builders who raised the walls, the musicians and actors who filled the stage, the children who performed their first play here, the families who came to celebrate, and the citizens who came to have their say, just like we are doing today. This place has served us well, and though the walls will soon come down, I better watch the health and safety issue and fall off the edge. And though the walls will soon come down, its spirit remains in us, in our determination to keep coming together, to keep debating, to keep celebrating who we are. Let us record our memories, share our stories, and keep its spirit alive in our hearts. Let's remember, this is not the end of our story, but the beginning of a new chapter for Masterton. To help preserve its memory, we invite you to contribute to our Town Hall memory box with your stories, photos, or mementos. If enough are gathered, we hope to create a Town Hall memorial book so its stories live on. We have also made a photo frame if you wish to take a photo today with the Town Hall in the background before it is gone too. You will find the frame at the desk beside the memory box. As we look ahead, let us carry forward the same sense of pride, vision, and community spirit that built this hall more than a century ago. And let us make sure that whatever replaces it is worthy of that legacy. So on behalf of my organisation, the Masterton Ratepayer Residents Association, I want to thank you all for being here today, to farewell Masterton's Town Hall and honour all those memories it holds for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Lyn. Now, the gentleman at the helm of our thriving new regional newspaper, the Warwick Times Age, has taken a great interest, of course, in its neighbour, the town hall just across the road from his office, and he has collected many thoughts over recent years. So now he'd like perhaps to share some of them. Please welcome Piers Fuller, editor of the Times Age.
Thanks, Warwick. Thanks, Lyn. That's good. Looking at our building across the way there. Yeah, sometimes you get so close to a subject, to a topic that starts to get on your nerves a little bit. You look out the window, there it is again. I'm choosing another photo to go into the Times Age because there's another story, and I pop over here, take another couple of photos so we don't use the same ones all the time. So it does, I do feel almost too close to it sometimes in terms of a topic. I was asked to come and speak here because obviously the media has kept an eye on things over the years. Initially I said, no, I don't think that's appropriate because reporters don't want to be in the middle of a story. But then I thought, actually, in this particular case, I have made my views quite clear on occasion. There are a couple of points that I've made, and I thought this might be an opportunity to say it publicly again, because when this is gone, I think there should be at least some dissenting views should be there, and they should be recorded. This is not supposed to be a political event, but the media deals with politics. We've been dealing with politics the whole way through. And the reason we're here now is because of politics. So I just wanted to say my point about what's going on now and what has gone on. And I noticed that there are a couple of councillors here who stood up for this building, who wanted to have a further look given the new seismic regime. There are councillors here that voted against that, and good on you for being here for that. Personally, I don't have super strong sentimental connection to the town hall and municipal buildings, but I do think it is one of the most recognisable and defining buildings in our town, and for that reason alone, it should be valued. I understand that there are many people who are passionate about retaining the building, and many who are indifferent and would just like to see the matter settled at a reasonable cost. As a media observer, all I want to see is the best decision being made with the best information available. And and I'm not sure that has happened. I've been reporting on this issue since the quite shocking announcement in 2016 of its earthquake-prone status. I understand that many in the community are tired of hearing about the ongoing town hall saga over the past 9 years, and frankly, so am I. I remember about 5 years ago attending a council meeting when the council opted to push back the decision for another year. I was frustrated that they were not dealing with it then. The irony is that given that we all knew that the MB seismic review was coming down the track earlier this year and plans to reform New Zealand earthquake-prone building system, I wish the 5 council members who voted to proceed with the demolition had understood that the review could be a game changer for many earthquake-prone buildings, as it has proved to be after sweeping changes were announced in the government last week. I just wonder, we had a letter from Ian Grant in the paper today, and this kind of reiterates that. I just wonder that if we look back in 25 years from now and we feel like we missed an opportunity to save a piece of history because we were in too much of a hurry, particularly at a time when we needed to slow down and consider a revised set of options. Isn't it paradoxical that at the same time, many towns across New Zealand are finally feeling some optimism about the future of their old buildings? We are bidding farewell to one because we never took the time to see if it could be saved in an affordable and functional way. I suspect that when demolition begins later this month, I will feel some sadness at the loss of some of Marston's history, but possibly some frustration at unanswered questions over whether it really had to happen. Thanks, everyone. That's just a point that I wanted to make today. Thanks.
Next up, we have Chessa Stevens. Chessa is a Wellington-based heritage architect specialising in conservation, restoration, renovation, and adaptive reuse of historic and character buildings.
So, as you've heard, I'm Chessa Stevens. I'm a conservation architect, so I specialise in heritage buildings. And last year, prior to the Independent Hearings Commissioner's decision, colleagues of mine and myself provided a report on this building to outline the difference in the level of effects that different options may have for the building. And as part of that, I got to see all through the inside of it, and it's always a really great experience as part of my job to be able to get to know a building intimately, or these buildings really, as they are kind of cluster of buildings that have come together over time. They have a range of values, and those values are far-reaching and far beyond the economic value. A lot of people will ask me in my job why I decided to become a conservation architect, and we all know, and I'm sure that communities beyond this know, that there can be some quite pervasive negative attitudes towards heritage in New Zealand. And when we add to that our poor statutory environment and environmental degradation, earthquake-prone buildings legislation, all of these things that add cost, the focus is very much on those financial values, and we forget to look at the broader values that these places offer us and our communities. So in my role, I see myself and my colleagues as being the advocate for buildings and structures, places like these. We are the voice for their significance, and we are often incorrectly perceived as being a barrier when actually what we want to do is facilitate best outcomes for communities whilst those values are retained. Some of these values include things like stories, keeping the past alive through tangible representations of our otherwise intangible past, retaining the physical manifestation of historical narratives. This is intrinsically connected to our identity, our understanding of our past and who we are, understanding other peoples and other cultures, as well as our own. Place, so intangible connections to the physical world and physical connections to the intangible world. To those who may say, well, our buildings aren't old enough to warrant protection, but we're not like Europe. We don't have castles. We don't have buildings that are thousands of years old. There are no Roman ruins here. Nothing gets to be 500 unless it got to be 100 first, and then 150, and then 200. And that doesn't mean that these places cannot change, but it means that retaining them and looking after them provides value for future generations. So there's also aesthetics, right? We know that this is one of those buildings in Masterton that we all recognise. It's beautiful in its various different ways, and it offers diversity in our built landscape, the importance of having variation in our buildings and our urban environments. All of these things, they connect to well-being. And in fact, surveys conducted overseas have shown that heritage has a positive impact on personal quality of life. And heritage activities such as volunteering at sites or paying membership fees to heritage organisations or being actively involved in restorations all improve levels of well-being. This planning is taking lessons from the past into our future, both in terms of individual structures and our wider urban environments. When we demolish things, we lose them. What lessons have we learned from those? Sometimes I wonder about that question a lot. Quality. So we don't build them like we used to. Yes, historic buildings have some issues, and don't get me wrong, I deal with those on a daily basis, but buildings that are 80, 100, 150 years old are doing something right because they're still here. They've stood for that long and without much investment quite often. And now we're designing buildings with a maximum design life of 50 years. So compare that to the heritage buildings that we have around us and think about what that means for our environment in 50 years' time. Economics. So yes, there's a lot of talk about financial value, but local economies can benefit from heritage restoration projects through employment, heritage-led regeneration of communities, heritage tourism. Towns like this boom based on their histories, what they can draw in from other places, their past design, their past built environments are draw cards for people. This is how we connect. And if you think about how you connect with places when you travel around the country or overseas, these are the places you connect with, the places that have stories, the places that have history, the places that have a built environment that reflects those stories. And that's a way of connection. It's a way of forming connections between us and others. And sustainability. So the qualities, performance, environmental impact of using traditional building materials, the existing embodied energy of a structure, the new energy that will go into replacing it, and the increasing but rarely discussed issue of construction waste. If you look after the built environment that you have, your environmental impact is vastly less than if you do away with what you have and build something new. And I could go on, but I won't because we'd be here all day. The way that we as professionals assess heritage values of buildings, like the ones here, consider tangible and intangible qualities. They consider architectural, aesthetic, technological, contextual, historical, social, cultural values. They consider usability, utility, integrity, authenticity. And you'll note that financial value is not among those things. And that's for good reason, because there are deeper, much more intrinsic values that we need to place ahead of financial value in order to be prosperous communities. So when we considered the values of these buildings, the town hall and municipal buildings, we found that they have high heritage significance, and this is due primarily to their architectural, historic, social, and contextual values. They demonstrate high value in the stripped classical style. They incorporate changes that have been made over time in response to other events, such as the earthquakes of 1942. Of particular note are certain features, and these features could be prioritised for retention and reuse above other features that may have lesser value. Comparative analysis that we conducted found that there are very few, if any, other examples of town halls or municipal buildings designed in a similar style, which gives these buildings high rarity value. The Masterton Town Hall and municipal buildings also have contextual significance. They are a landmark in this town. They are a recognisable piece of the history of this place. and they have huge historical significance through their history in providing for civic functions since their construction. If you think about all of the events, all of the people that are tied to this place, what we're here today to do is to celebrate those things. And I'm disappointed that the advice that we gave to retain at least part of these buildings was not taken. But for me, it has been a pleasure at least to have had the opportunity to get to know these buildings and in some way to make a contribution to their story. And I hope that everybody here makes their own contribution today as well. That's part of why our heritage is valuable. Thank you.
Thank you, Chessa. I like the stunning simplicity of that. That building can't be 500 years old until it's 100 years old. Unfortunately, this one won't even make 150 years old. Actually, on a slight personal note, I'm from Auckland originally. I came down here with my Wairapian wife, Sarah, about 2015. And I always remember the first visit I came to town, my first visit, and there's two things that really impressed me. One was the park, Queen Elizabeth Park, which I thought was magnificent, and I still do. The wisdom of people so many years ago to put that sort of planting together is something we should all be thankful for. The second was this triptych of classic buildings on the spot. I thought that was marvellous. I love the square, and the square got even better. I think only a year or so later, when my mother-in-law, Lyn Riley, sort of designed and organised the planting of 60 London plane trees just in front in the square there, and that looked starting to look magnificent too. And a similar number of Buxus balls where the dirt is around your feet. And a handful of years later, I'm thinking, what the hell? The trees were neglected by council, and over a brutal Wairapa summer, they weren't watered, they died, every one of them, except for one, which we kept. The balls have to be taken out of harm's way a couple of months ago, and the town hall is now going to be demolished. Things have changed since I first came, and it saddens me. The fact that my children, and one day when they're well grown up, will be asking, after looking at photos, saying, what happened to that building? I'm not sure what we're going to say. Anyway, I indulge myself. Now look, it's the building here has not really merely been a structure, of course. It's been a backdrop. It's been a backdrop to so many lives, to our town, a witness to the evolution of our culture, the progress of our society, and its embrace during a dance or a concert or a meeting or a play or an exhibition here. We've met and we've made new friends, or we've strengthened the bonds of old friendships. Experiences, we've shared great times in this building, experiences, and we've created a wonderful tapestry of history, and that will be remembered for a long time, I hope. So yes, it is difficult to see, it will be very difficult to see this building tumble. And as it will, no doubt, at Monday or 1 a.m. on a Monday or Tuesday morning, because that's what happens with these things, to avoid motive demonstrators getting in the way. Happens quite often in Auckland. But we must remember that change, I guess, is an integral part of life. So if we must move on, from our town hall, let us carry the values and the lessons and the joy experienced within these walls into the future. So let this not be just a goodbye, but a commitment to honouring our town hall by forging ahead with the same spirit of innovation and creativity that the architects and the engineers and the builders displayed when they erected this building so many years ago. It was built to last 100 or hundreds of years, and thus it was built in a classic style. This made it timeless, and in many people's opinion, quite beautiful. So in order to truly honour this building and the service it is building, it needs to be replaced, and it needs to be replaced by something extraordinary, something special. We shouldn't forget that. Not tar seal, not a car park, not shipping containers, which this council seems to have a love affair with, Not an outdoor recreational space with bad morals by our school children, with respect to our school children. We don't need that. And not a building that adheres to the great Kiwi motto, oh, that'll do. It'll do. It's not a monument, perhaps. We do not want a monument of boredom like the Greater Wellington Regional Authority building down the road. I have trouble going past that building without yawning. We need a civic centre that inspires, that amazes, that will have people in New Plymouth and Bulls and Gisborne and Auckland and Wellington saying, crikey, have you seen what they're doing down in Masterton? Lucky buggers, it's fantastic. By all means, let us recruit and contract local builders and engineers to one day construct something here, a new town hall, civic centre. But the concept and the design, please let us cast aside our traditional Scottish Presbyterian conservatism and delve into the exciting possibilities and creativity to be found in the minds of architects in Wellington and Auckland, in Madrid, in Berlin, in Helsinki. It worked well for Sydney's Opera House, and yes, I will compare our civic centre with the Opera House and the Guggenheim and Museum in Bilbao and the National Museum in Zurich and the Pompidou Centre, because the principle is exactly the same, whether you've got $2 million, $25 million, or $25 billion. There is no budget where creativity has to be ruled out. And only by working with the very best and the most innovative, the highly creative, wherever they hail from, will we give ourselves a chance of building something very, very, very special. Something as good or hopefully even better than our current Grand Hall if possible. So, because only then will the loss of this beautiful building be truly justified if it's replaced with something just as good or even hopefully even better. This is what the town deserves, it's what the people deserve, and it's nothing less than what this beautiful town hall deserves. Thank you all very much for being here today. As I say, you've got your rosemary, you can leave it here. You can please leave your memories with the memory box. We're going to have, if you don't mind, we're going to have one more tune. Now, please sing along with us. Hope you know the words of this one, especially we must say goodbye to be singing far across the sea. While you're away, please remember me. When you return, you'll find me waiting. And although it sounds strange, feel free to come up and put your hands on the building. Last chance. Thank you very much for coming here today. We really appreciate it. Thank you.